Hi, this is Tracy of On the Path to Understanding with part 2 on the purpose of life. I left off in part 1 about the innate value of all things, and especially our own lives. This is not to say our life is more important than any other thing in the universe. It's not. It's equal to all. There's nothing that is greater or lesser than any other thing. And in order to understand the concept of innate value, one has to think about uh, exactly what we are. And when I mean what we are, I don't mean that male or female or human or not human. What I mean is our ultimate selves, a multitude of atoms connected together. All of these with a central energy force within them. And this is how we are. So basically, we are a combination of energy and the material or physical plane. Um, when we look at the human body, it's comprised of almost every element that's on the face of the earth, which lends to the story in the Bible about God taking up a clump of mud and manifesting us from this, and then imbuing it with the God spark with that was part of Him. Our stories, there's many stories like this throughout the world, and the thing of it is, in this lifetime, everybody, everything has this central core, if you will, of energy. They call it Kundalini, which is the energy that comes from the earth and rises up through the chakras out into the universe. They call it the silver thread, from the universe through the body, grounding into the earth, and so on and so forth. And everybody and everything has this. And of course, this is where our intrinsic value comes from, that we're all the same being in that sense. We're all from the same energy source with a physical manifestation of our bodies. And this means that we all have equal value. Now, when you think of this energy force as a soul or a spirit, then you begin to conceptualize the idea that there's something eternally lasting within us. And since energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but only changes form, this is where we begin to understand our value, the value of our energy, the value of our spirit, the value of our soul. And when I was born, okay, I manifested on the physical plane as Tracy or Diana. Some of people know me as that. And within that body is this energy, this spirit, this soul. And as long as I live, I'll be Tracy. But at death, Tracy will cease to exist as Tracy and return to the basic elements upon the earth, from ashes to ashes, dust to dust thing. But the eternal part of me, the soul, the spirit, the energy, will disperse back into the universe. In one of its various forms, it will do this. And so basically, this will happen to everything in the universe. A rock will continue to grind and grind and grind and grind until it's nothing, because of or nothing that we can see, because the fragments are so small. A human being separates the physical from the spiritual. An animal separates his physical from his spiritual. So the thing of great value is the energy, the spirit, the soul of us all. And herein lies the saying that we are temples housing this God spark, this Buddha, this spirit within us. And most of us aren't aware of this because we're taught to look outside of ourselves for a power source, when in reality we are it. And it's hidden in the physical body and masked by the human condition, but it's still there. And there's an ongoing battle within us between the spiritual self and this physical self, this human condition that has all of its demands and wants and needs and ego and desires and, everything. And then there's the spiritual self, which has none of it. Okay, the spirit doesn't need anything. The energy doesn't want anything. It doesn't desire anything. It's totally disconnected from the human condition in that sense. And the joining force, some religions call it Ori, some call it the Buddha, some call it the God or soul, is the connection back to the source, the primordial energy. Now, this may be difficult to understand to a vast degree, but if you think of a vast ocean of energy, like let's just say like a regular ocean, and every time a wave pops up off that ocean, okay, it's a wave. We call it a wave, but it's still the ocean. And it's the same thing with us. Every time one of us is born and every time something physical manifests, it's a wave on this ocean of primordial energy. And it's never disconnected, okay? And it's never separate. We think we're connected, but we're not connected. We're interfused at the primordial energy. I remember one time many years ago, a mentor was explaining this to me, and Amos said, think of your life, all the events of your life, as little islands in an ocean. And you're angry about this little island over here. You're in love about this little island over here. You go through all of these various feelings about these different islands of your life. But then if you put on your scuba diver equipment and you swim to the bottom of the ocean, you'll see that all those land masses are connected at the bottom of the ocean. There's no separation there. They're all interfused together. They're just expressing different perceptions of themselves. And it's the same kind of thing. Each of us is expressing a different perception of the primordial energy. There is no separation. And there's no way that we can do something to ourselves or to another person and have not affect everything else. And this is a great lesson that everybody needs to learn. Because if we don't, we're going to continue to exhibit all of this negative stuff toward each other. And the universe and all of its workings are going to be constantly trying to put it back into balance. The more negative there is, the more positive there has to be. Otherwise, it would not follow the laws of nature. Okay, it would not follow the laws of the universe. The universe is about balance. And everything since day one, when the dark existed and the light within was exposed and separated, and when its merry way to create the universe, all the suns and planets and all that stuff, okay, there was never anything out of balance. And we try to teach ourselves, or we do teach ourselves, that we have to be all of one thing or all of another thing, and not valuing our entire selves. We have to be all good in order to go to heaven. We have to, if we're all bad, we're going to go to hell. Or if we are, if the balance of good and bad are out, we may be able to go to purgatory and work through it, and in some religions, um, and eventually go to the good place. But in my opinion, that's not reality. That's not the objective reality. Because everything that I observe, everything that you can observe, everything that's proven by science, all shows us that balance will happen. And if we don't do what's necessary to keep our lives and our environment in balance, then things are going to happen. Now, the perfect example is the human race has been gutting the earth for centuries of its minerals and uh, everything. And now we're seeing where all of these holes are opening up for no apparent good reason in the earth and swallowing up everything. Um, these sinkholes and these earthquakes that are happening because of so much disturbance within the earth. We forgot to take care of the earth. because we forgot how to take care of ourselves. We have to have the balance, okay? And if we don't, in our arrogance, we think, oh, we're going to destroy the earth. No, we're not going to destroy the earth. We're going to destroy the capacity for the earth to sustain the life of human beings. That's what's going to happen. The earth is going to be here for as long as it's here, but we may not be if we don't get our heads on straight. And this is why we have to understand our innate value and our purpose here. And the purpose is a continuation of balance, sustainability, the capability of moving on the face of the earth without destroying it, without making it inhabitable to us, to sustain our species. And we're missing this point. We're too busy tracing that, the material, that we haven't even begun to remember what we knew. What we knew as indigenous people, okay, before colonialization of all the different other cultures and countries, we knew that we were supposed to take care of the earth. I've read stories of Australian Aboriginals who lay down and go to sleep, and then when they get up, they put the earth back in this, as close to the same condition as they could. They weren't greedy. Whatever the universe placed in their path is what they ate, because that's what they did. They didn't take an overabundance of anything. There was no waste. Okay, the same thing holds true for the Native Americans and other indigenous tribes of people. They took care of what was there, and in doing so, the land took care of them. Now, I was listening to something the other day. Well, not the other day. About a month ago, I noticed a report that said the carbon dioxide shroud around the earth, the amount of carbon dioxide in the air is greater than it's ever been. Now, great for trees and other beings that use carbon dioxide to survive, but for human beings, this is a bad thing. We can't get enough oxygen in our bodies if we don't have the trees that eat the carbon dioxide and spew out the oxygen that we need. And so we've destroyed the purpose of that balance by constantly cutting down trees for whatever reason. And, yeah, okay, we need shelter. But do we need as much shelter as we have when there's millions of houses on the earth that nobody's even inhabiting them because somebody thinks they own them, but they're falling down rotten everywhere you go? We don't take care of each other anymore. We don't take care of the earth. And in the process, we think we're being taken care of because we go out and we make a lot of money and we hoard it and we buy, things that we really don't need. But think we do in order to create this semblance of value based on materialistic greed. And has nothing to do with our intrinsic, our innate value as spiritual beings housed in the temple of ourselves. And a lot of people think that's crazy, but I made money. Okay, I made a lot of money. I gave most of it away. I wasted a lot of it, but I made it. And at this stage of the game, I'm very much aware, and I'm not saying this because I no longer have it. I'm saying this because it's a realization that I came to, that it wasn't important, except in that I could help so many people with it. And food, shelter, clothing, play, and love. That's all we need. Why does one person need a 5-bedroom house to live in when there's 30 people on the corner that they pass every day that have no place to live? But people are so fearful that they think if they share what they have, it's going to cost them. They don't see it as a means of gaining more when we share what we have. And see, this goes back to those purposes that I was telling you that those so-called lesser beings have, is that they take care of their space, they take care of their environment, they take care of each other, they take care of their children. And in the process, they're taken care of. Because they don't feed just their children, they feed themselves too, so that they can continue their work to take care of it, to take care of that, not only their offspring but their environment as well. We, on the other hand, we take care of our immediate family, maybe, but we don't think about our extended family anymore. We don't think about our neighbors. We don't think about anybody but ourselves, unless we all happen to belong to the same sorority, fraternity, or club. Okay, then we kind of halfway look out for each other. Even the church doesn't look after its congregation anymore the way it has in the past. They say give tithes, give to the church. But you walk through that neighborhood and people's houses are falling down. The children don't have what they need. Nobody has everything that they need, but the church is rich. The preacher's wearing 5,000, or the minister, and this isn't just in Christianity. I've seen this happen, and even in Buddhism, where the ministers, the priests are wearing $6,000 suits, $2,000 shoes from the money that the congregation has given them to do the work of that church or temple or whatever. Okay? And that's what it's for. The tithes are supposed to take care of the community, not be hoarded by the ministers or the priest or whatever you want to label them. Okay? But we've lost sight of that purpose of ourselves in the grand scheme of things. I've seen some people, that are working hard for themselves and others. And they have their fair share, plus maybe a little bit more that they're planning on passing down to their children and so on and so forth. But for the most part, most of us are just struggling from day to day, keep food on the table, to look the part of whatever the world's expectation of us is. And we forget our purpose of taking care of the whole species in order for it to survive and for our lives and well-being to be sustained, and to keep the balance overall between ourselves and the earth. So, innate value is the seed that allows us to be the people we were intended to be, through finding a balance between taking care of ourselves and others and our environment. Thanks.